Welcome to Wartime Cafe. We are in Barzakh bookstore and coffee shop in Beirut, Hamra neighborhood. Today we have a very special guest with us, playwright and theater actress Raeda Taha. Thank you very much for being with us, Raeda.
Thank you.
You have produced a lot of plays over the years. The latest is called Ghazal Akka, and it's chapters from the life of Ghassan Kanafani. That's the full title of it. You served as the press secretary of martyred President Yasser Arafat between 1987 1994, and you are the daughter of martyr Ali Taha, and he was part of the hijacking of the Sabina 571 flight in 1972 in May 8th. There's so much that we can talk about, honestly. But I would like to start with the latest play that you produced, the Ghassan Kanafani play, the Ghazal Akka, which you were in the process of launching as the al-Aqsa flood started. And you've been touring it around. We are now commemorating 52 years of his assassination here in Beirut, along with his niece. In fact, people went to the martyrs' graveyard and cemetery. His wife was there, his family was there, putting flowers and commemorating that day. This play, you wrote it obviously because Ghassan Kanafani has a special place in Palestinian literature and resistance in general. You've been touring it around the world. Talk to us about Ghassan Kanafani's importance to artists like you who have some inspiration from his life, and about the reception of this play around the world.
Coming from a revolutionary background, I have to talk a little bit about my background. I was born in Jerusalem into a very revolutionary family, including my father. That generation was politically involved after the 1967 war, or before a little bit the 1967 war. That generation was most of them were Pan-Arabs, and they have decided to revolt. They have decided to work secretly underground. The main aim was to free Palestine. Well, coming from this background, as I have said, it's not strange for someone like me to become dedicated and part of my cause. I was brought up on Ghassan's book. When children were reading other books, I was reading Ghassan's book, and so was my generation too. We were extracted, kicked out from Jerusalem in 1968 to Amman, where we spent a year in Amman, and then moved to Beirut. And Beirut at that time was the hub of all free people, freedom of speech and freedom of expression, freedom of writing, freedom of everything, gave us a lot of leeway to express ourselves and to educate ourselves about the Palestinian cause. My life was divided into two parts. I was enrolled in a very good school, Raeda High School, Yaser Arafat, God bless his soul, because he was an exceptional teacher, along with his family. Wadi Haddad was one of the brothers, and Wadia Haddad was one of the family who taught me Dabke, who founded the Dabke in Beirut, in Lebanon, with her husband, belated husband, God bless their souls too, Marwan Jarrar. So in this town, in this country, we have a lot of history. And I have my my history helped me to, as an accumulative thing, to become the person I am now. It has enhanced in me the freedom of speech. It has enhanced with me the strength to suggest any cause with a lot of courage and strength. I want to go back to Ghassan Kanafani. Okay, one of the things that we used to do in Beirut during the Palestinian camps, like I have told you, my life was divided into two parts. One part, the winter part, I was busy with my school, my friends in Beirut, and my activities. I learned with Georgette Jbara, I was a dancer, you know, ballet dancer and modern dancer, and that was during the winter time. And I was busy with my social life with all my friends. During the summertime, I was in a military camp in Suq al-Gharb, in Is'ad al-Tufula school, learning about my cause, okay, and you know, learning also how to use the
Weapons.
the Kalashnikov.
Yes.
Okay.
How to defend yourself.
How to defend myself, and learning all details and everything that has to do with the political and cultural part of Palestine, cultural side of Palestine. So besides the military camps, there was like also a folklore dancing group where we learned all the Palestinian songs, where we learned all the dabkes, all kinds of dabkes, and where we learned, and most importantly, the history of Palestine. And so as I lived, I was really blessed and lucky. As much as I lost in my life, I have gained a lot of opportunities of learning about my Palestine. One of the programs that was involved in that summer camp was to learn about Palestinian poets and Palestinian writers. Ghassan Kanafani was part of that.
It was part of the teaching.
Yeah, it was part of the teaching.
Not a lot of people can say Wadi Haddad taught them Dabke and Ghassan Kanafani taught them.
Wadi Haddad never taught us Dabke. Wadi Haddad taught the world to listen to us, I think. And he used plane hijacking as a social media now, you know, just to let the whole world learn more about our history and about our Nakba and about our suffering and the atrocities that the Israelis exert on us since 76 years. No, Wadi Haddad has a very special compartment. And my father was his protege, you know, they worked together. And Hani, God bless his soul, his son, was a very good friend of mine. So I come from this, honestly, very rich history, very multifaceted, and like not only multifaceted, international, layered history that allowed me, really gave me the opportunity to be one of the people who represent the Palestinian narrative, okay, in its right form and story. That's why I have decided to become a playwright.
So what did Ghassan Kanafani?
Ghassan, first of all, there is a very, very special relationship between Ghassan Kanafani and Ali Taha, my father, because they were in the same party, the PFLP. I was very young at that time when they built that relationship. They have gone through one of the plane hijackings in Thawra Airport in Jordan. So they were comrades. They loved life. They used to like. They were fun to be with, as I hear, because people have this image of freedom fighters and comrades that like they are very serious people and they are, you know, complicated people. They don't have taste of joie de vivre and living life. That was really far from Ghassan Kanafani and Ali Taha and the rest of the comrades. I have become friends with his family. His daughter Layla Kanafani and I went to the same school, Raeda High School. His son Fayez is a very close friend of mine. And Annie, his wonderful wife, who really continued the legacy of Ghassan Kanafani.
And you sit on the board of the foundation.
Yeah, I sit on the board as in art projects. I help them in selling the children paintings as a fundraising for the children and the kindergartens to continue painting. But my relationship to them, with them is closer than that. And like I have told you, I have lived through this history knowing about Ghassan Kanafani, whom I've never met, by the way. I was very, very young when he was assassinated in Beirut, here in Hazmiya. I was 7 years old. Ali Taha was killed during the hijacking by Ehud Barak and Netanyahu in 1972 in May, 9th of May. And there was a bet between them. You know, that's the beginning of the play. Ali went to Al-Hadaf magazine and he told Ghassan that, Ghassan, I'm going to die before you. So Ghassan said, no, you bet, I am going to be killed before you. I'm going to die and be assassinated before you. So Ali told Ghassan in a very jokingly manner, you know, they were joking and they were laughing really about it. He told him, you want to bet, Ghassan? So it happened that Ali hijacked the plane in May, was killed the 9th of May, and Ghassan was immediately assassinated 2 months later. His commemoration was 2 days ago, on the 8th of July. And I say when Ali was killed, I said to myself, too bad, he will never know that he won the bet. So that was part of
you were
the
still
play.
we're laughing at martyrdom, you know. People think that we are, as Palestinians, as you were saying, that we are all dark.
We're not dark.
We have dark humor sometimes, but we're not dark.
Well, dark humor comes from a lot of pain. And if people know what, it is called dark humor because it comes from pain and agony. And if people like us who have been suffering for 76 years don't make fun of ourselves and don't create dark humor, we won't be considered real human beings. It's a trait of human beings when you start making fun of your tristesse, of your sadness, of your agony, of your pain. When you start doing this, it means that you have achieved a lot and you have come to a point where this becomes one of the cures in your life. And to me, this is one of the cures, to laugh about our agony, about my pain, and that's what I do.
And for
I joke about it all
Western
the time.
viewers that don't know, in Arabic the proverb goes, "Sharrul baliyati ma yudhik." The worst of afflictions is what makes you laugh.
Exactly, exactly. And I think this is when you reach that stage in your life, it means that you have become sophisticated enough to make jokes about your suffering. It doesn't mean that we underestimate our suffering, but we deal with our sufferings in so many ways, in so many manners. One of them, dark humor. And dark humor is always present in my plays, always. My plays are not sugar-coated with slogans and cliches. No, my work comes, my plays come from real life, and real life includes a lot of laughing, a lot of crying, and a lot of obstacles. So I always reflect that in my plays.
It is always the hardest thing to have political art that is not very dry, that actually delivers on the art form.
Yeah.
And I think that you have perfected this in the theater form, not to play the cliches or so on, that actually your art is principled in its form, but also in its subject.
Of course.
And so to get back to this play,
Yeah.
why you think not only you, but much of the Palestinian art scene is so enthralled with Ghassan Kanafani?
Because Ghassan Kanafani is the one who established the resistant art. Ghassan Kanafani was also a multi-talented, multifaceted man. Ghassan Kanafani was one of the people who really experienced and suffered the 1948 Nakba, and he excelled in writing about it. Ghassan Kanafani was not only a writer. Ghassan was a writer, a journalist, a painter. He used to draw sketches, and a politician, and the المتحدث الرسمي باسم الجبهة الشعبية.
Spokesperson.
The spokesperson of the PFLP. That means that Ghassan Kanafani was a very special man, very talented man, a unique man who suffered from diabetes when he was 23 years old, and decided that this disease, he said that if this disease did not kill me until now, so I should consider myself not sick and continue my path, my political and revolutionary path. He was also a lover of life. He used to have a lot of parties in his house, in Hazmiye, and even here in Ramallah, in Beirut.
Hamra.
And he was a very delicate and sensuous man, yet very courageous and strong. And I like this contradiction in a human being, because it shows his real humanity. I have many scenes of Ghassan Kanafani in my play, which somehow, I mean, I can't talk about Ghassan in 1 hour. It's impossible. You need hours and hours of books and movies and plays to give this man his right, But I have chosen, few chapters of his life and shed the light on them, which those chapters reflect his humanity, reflects his political life, reflects his relationship with his family. I hope I succeeded to do that.
Well, it seems like you succeeded because it's been touring around the world.
Yeah, it's been touring until now. I went to Venezuela, actually. I went to first, I launched my play. I always launch my plays here in Beirut. I started at the Medina Theater, then I went to Jordan, then Kuwait, then Bahrain, then Tunisia, then Venezuela, and I'm still touring. And the most exciting place to me was Venezuela, really. I went to 5 cities and performed as part of a very big festival, maybe probably the biggest in Latin America. I was invited by the President, Maduro, and the Minister of Culture, Ernesto, and I have never ever in my life was embarrassed in such embracement and love from the people and the government. And by doing so, I keep those Palestinian icons, figures alive in the minds and hearts of people.
So you mentioned touring and doing your play in Tunis, you mentioned, of course, the special place here in Lebanon for Palestinian existence since the Nakba. These two locations, Tunis and Lebanon, are cultural hubs in the Arabic world. Maybe some of our viewers don't understand that, but also they are hubs for Palestinian existence since the Nakba.
True.
And have a special place there. Why do you think these two countries stand out like that?
To me, this country stands out because I have created my memory in Lebanon and inherited my memory in Palestine. I have not had, I had few memories in Palestine, but my personality was created in this country. Through my history, of course, but if I walk in the streets of Beirut, especially the Hamra and Raeda and Bliss Street and West Beirut, actually, really, my mind and heart always are full of pictures, full of incidents, full of love, full of laughter, full of war. Something, you know, all these memories, I was prevented from having in Palestine. So I had to create my own memory, and everybody has memory. So this place is special for me because it gave me a lot of chances to become who I am now. And I always say that half my heart is Palestinian and the other half is Lebanese. I was exposed to culture, a lot of culture. I mean, culture prevailed this country during the 70s. My family, my mother, she encouraged me a lot to the world, you know, to the ambiance of culture. She was keen on taking us to all the plays that used to take place down here in the 70s, to the movies, to have activities. I mean, it's a very hot mingling hub, Beirut. And if you don't travel to see what's happening in other parts of the world, okay, you can see the world coming here and trying also to expose or to put all their experiences, either through art or through politics or even through economics or all aspects of life. So this rich place actually taught me a lot, and I was lucky to be part of this atmosphere.
And
Tunis,
you moved to Tunis, yes,
yeah,
after
Tunis
the expulsion of
yeah,
all the Palestinians in 1982,
yeah,
the fighters.
But before that, I want to say that no matter where you live or where you go or where you build, you are always a stranger and a guest, always. This feeling never left me, never ever left me. Tunis was special to me because it was the only place which received part of the Palestinians after 1982. And also I have to say that the Tunisians, I mean, North Africa's love for us is really embarrassing, I should say. They love the Palestinians without any conditions, unconditionally. And we have really, we were so embraced with attention, love, respect, and that made us more proud. And that comforted us, really, because the exodus from Beirut was very painful, very, very painful. And
How
after
old were
that,
you when that happened?
I was in in 1982. I'm not going to tell you.
No. Okay.
I
So
was
you
in
know
my
what?
teens.
So let's see.
You're not going to get any number. You do the math.
Okay. So you from 1987 till 1994, and you know, this. So I'm gonna segue to your time serving as the press secretary for President Arafat, martyred President Arafat from 1987-94, and that was mainly in Tunis.
Yes, yes, of course. But before that, I went to the States. I got my degree from the States. I studied speech communication and journalism. And then Yaser Arafat, God bless his soul, he asked me to become his assistant. And he never used the word work for me, but work with me. I mean, we are all resistance, and we all want the same target, to liberate Palestine. Anyway, I went to Tunis. I was 22 years old. I was burdened with a lot of responsibilities, and that what toughened me up to become the person also who I am. Probably I should say that was the harshest, most interesting, wonderful experience that I ever had in my life. It's like going to a school, graduating from a political school. Working with Yaser Arafat was so much enriching, full of experiences, and this man had no preferences between genders. He gave me a great opportunity to prove myself and taught me a lot, really a lot. There's no leader in the world I have not met. There is no sheikh I have not met, or a minister, or a president. I escorted Abu Ammar to most of the foreign world, and I was learning everything. Every day to me was a big lesson. And the best that ever happened to me is that he gave me the opportunity to learn, really. I have never resorted to him to solve my problems. He gave me the leeway. He taught me how to solve my problems, and he never objected to my way of solving them. Of course, I was under his auspices. I was very protected by him. Yet he gave me the courage and the path to experience everything without really creating any boundaries. And I should say that if it wasn't for the school of Yaser Arafat, I wouldn't have had probably the know-how and the courage to choose my career now as a playwright. I started really late, and I never regretted it, because at that age, in my 40s when I started, I was a rich person from inside. I was so much enriched with experience and stories.
You walked out of that job in 1994, so that's just right after Oslo.
Yes.
Was that a reason
No.
that you walked out?
Besides, I did not walk out. No,
Well, I mean, you ended your job there.
That's not
I'm not saying it in a bad way. I'm
yeah,
sorry,
okay,
you know.
that's not the expression. I got married.
Oh.
Really. I fell in love, got married in 1994, and it was the last wedding in Tunis that Yaser Arafat attended. And it was such a pride and joy that he attended. He married me off, and he attended my wedding. And my belated husband, Sohail Jad'on, was living in Ramallah. He was a businessman, so I had to move with him. Arafat was a little bit disappointed and sad, because he wanted me to escort him to Gaza and Ramallah. He wanted me to be with him on that group. And it so happened that I got married before the return. But I was never I could not get myself in terms with the Oslo Agreement.
I mean, people understand the Soviet Union collapsed. It was a unipolar world. Iraq was destroyed. The Palestinians were expelled from the Gulf, 2 million somewhat Palestinians. There
And
was a lot of pressures that were forcing Yaser Arafat to
a lot
this.
of pressures. That was all designed, okay, that was all designed to make this agreement and the Oslo Agreement to let Yaser Arafat sign on this agreement with a lot of voids and mistakes. I don't want to always put the responsibility on others. We should have done a better job in negotiations, really. But it was a trap for Yaser Arafat, really. It was a big trap. Considering the situation at that time, we were really pressured. I mean, there was nowhere in the world where the Palestinians were going to be received again. We were a burden on the souls and the hearts and the lives of others, of other people and other governments. We are the complex number in this equation. And to my knowledge, and as I have read and understood, Yaser Arafat had no escape but to sign this agreement. Besides all this, I always say that, because I come from a different generation, I always say that our performance should have been much better. We should have learned from our previous mistakes. Okay, now that this all happened, and it was also an experience at the expense of the Palestinians, yet we are still very optimistic, and let's call it an obstacle in history, and we are there. We are continuing. We are fighting for our liberation.
There's at least 4 plays that you have produced in your career.
Yes.
Of course, we mentioned Ghazal Akka. There was the Fig Tree in 2021, 36 Abbas Street, Haifa in 2017, and of course, the one that started your fame in theater. Where can I find someone like you, Ali, about your martyred father in 2015?
Yes.
Let's talk about Ali.
Yes.
Yeah, his revolutionary work, and how that even set you on this theatrical career beyond your politics and your revolutionary work yourself. How this actually opened your theater career, that you said, I saw some interviews, you said that this was your first love to do arts.
Of course,
yeah.
Since I was like
So how does this circle
5.
go, with Ali?
First of all, I was born into a very, very loved family. I was the first to be born as a girl. I was a tiny child, and my father was born in Hebron. Okay, he comes from Hebron, his family, but he lived his life. He spent his life. He lived, worked, and got married in Jerusalem, Bilwad, in the old city. So Jerusalem was his love. He started his life as a tourist guide. He taught himself. Okay, he spoke few languages. He was a very positive person, very hardworking, very lucky, very handsome, really. And groups used to love to work with him. He started his life as a normal man, working, helping his family. Then he fell in love with my mother. They got married and started to build a family, build a home and a family. Until 1948, and after that, my father was was very young in 1948. But anyway, the 1967 war, which was a repercussion also of the feelings and the revolution of the 1948 Nakba. Like I said, all that generation was politically involved. All that generation, even this political involvement liberated somehow the women because they were also politically involved. Ali's life have changed a little bit. He started traveling more. He started, his absence was much more often than before, but he kept his bond with his girls, and he never minded to have girls in the family, not boys. This is very important for the Hebronites, for the Arab community also, you know, to have boys, not girls. But he was very proud of his girls. And he was very much in love with my mother. And that reflected really greatly on our relationship with each other and with our family, you know. Ali was a loving father. And it was when he left Beirut and hijacked the plane, he told us that this will be the last trip for me, and then I will spend more time with you. I was really angry when he did not come back. Really. I was disappointed. I was hurt. I was scarred for a very, very, very long time. I hated him out of love. I never understood the meaning of, at that age, when I was 7 years old, 8 years old, I never understood what it meant to sacrifice for a cause, for Palestine. I only forgave him when I really understood. And when I became older than him, I forgave this wonderful man who tried to do something for our future, who tried to create a home for us by sacrificing his life. That's why now we're very good friends. We talk, and I always, always, always bring him to my stage. Some people tell me, oh my God, Raeda, every time you write a play, Ali is in there. I told them, but of course, I never had the chance to live with Ali properly, never spent enough time with Ali. So if he's not with me, if he wasn't with me in life, I bring him to stage to play, to stay with me.
So in a way, he wasn't lying when he said he's going to be with you after.
No, he came back in his own way.
Yes, and he's with us all.
Of course.
And he will be with us forever.
Of course,
as
and all the martyrs like him who gave their lives to this cause.
So Ali was part of the PFLP.
Yes.
They were in Jordan once the Black September massacre happens.
Yes.
Then he comes to Beirut, part of a group that was called Black September.
Yes.
In commemoration of the slaughter that happened in Amman.
Yes.
And they hijack the Sabina, and it's, you know, for him and 3 of his comrades. And Ali, along with Zakaria al-Atrash, get martyred, and 2 of the...
Abdelaziz al-Atrash.
Oh, sorry. Abdelaziz al-Atrash.
Yes. Therese Halase and Rima Isa. Abdelaziz was killed with him in the same attack. Rima and Therese were injured. God bless their souls. We were very, very, very close to Therese. Therese...
she just passed away a few years ago.
She just passed away, a few years ago, but we were very close. She came out of prison after she was really tortured, badly, horribly tortured, during the exchange of prisoners in the 80s.
Yeah, in 1983.
Yes.
Luckily, her time in jail was...
13 years.
13 years.
Yeah, but
although she was, you know, supposed to be spending 250 years.
Exactly.
Yes. So clearly this affected you enough to return you to your first love of art.
Yes.
And as you said, you have been carrying Ali with you in all your other plays. So let's get to the little bit heavy situation. Everything that we've been talking about, Palestinian life is all heavy. We
Yeah.
joke about it. But the latest right now, there's the Aqsa flood, there's the genocide happening in Gaza. How is this affecting, number one, your mindset when you were writing this and preparing the last play about Ghassan Kanafani, and then this war starts? How does this affect your ability or your mindset playing such a thing, and how is that affecting the audience?
Let me tell you something. The Palestinian narrative was never excluded or dissociated with what happened in Tufan al-Aqsa. We, the people, the indigenous people, never stopped talking about our threatened narrative. Our threatened narrative that has been exposed to robbery and change by the Israelis. The Israelis always wanted to steal our narrative and write it the way they want. I have decided throughout my life to write our Palestinian narrative from our point of view, because it was too many times or endless times subjected to change and stealing. So, but the thing that amazed me, really, and the thing that slapped me positively on the face was the return of the armed struggle. Before that, I was preparing for a film about Ali on his commemoration, and I was asking the rhetoric question to everybody: you think all these sacrifices went in vain? The hijacking, the operations, and what do you think of those operations at that time, of these hijackings? That was my main question. And what do you think? Are we going to free Palestine, or is it an accumulative process? Or all those questions were asked 2 years ago about Palestine, and most of the answers were, yeah, we will liberate Palestine one day, but I don't think the armed struggle will work. The Israelis are more powerful than us. We have to find other ways, other means to free Palestine. And to my greatest surprise, because that's what I believed in all my life, that what has been taken by force will never be returned but by force. Really, I believe in that. And through the years, also because I lived in Palestine, I always, I was a witness, of this war, the Intifada, and the rest of the Intifada, on how the atrocities of the Israelis escalate every time the Palestinians defend themselves. But I was amazingly surprised by this Tawafan al-Aqsa. First of all, it's the first battle, real battle on our land. Okay? It's not a battle by proxy. It's not a battle on other people's lands, neither in Lebanon, nor in Jordan, nor anywhere else. Second of all, it was an eye-opening to the weakness of the Israeli army and the stereotyped image about him, that it is the strongest army in the world.
The undefeatable.
Yeah, invincible army.
Another play on the chosen people.
Yeah. And number three, the position of the Arab regimes, which was not a surprise to us as Palestinians. We are used to their positions. But this war in Gaza is liberating the world. honestly. By all means, this world, this war in Gaza have unmasked everybody. This war in Gaza is a real paradigm shift to the new generation, and we are now witnessing the political changes in the world, especially in Europe and America. So, this war is unprecedented in its targets through social media, unprecedented in its paradigm shift in the world. I'm very optimistic. This is the beginning of the end of the Zionist project, because projects have a start, a life, and then an ending. There is no project in the world that is eternal.
Isn't it crazy that the Zionists thought that they can last longer than the Crusaders in our land? That they can usurp our culture and our heritage, theological heritage, and claim to speak in
Arrogance does that to you. Arrogance and only arrogance. When you think that you are invincible and you have all the supported rights from the whole world, you really lose yourself in that. You become arrogant and you dissociate yourself from reality. The Israelis cannot see reality now. They don't watch TV and hear about what's happening in Gaza. They cannot even absorb what's happening in Gaza, and they refuse it. But I mean, arrogance is your main enemy, you know. When you think you are invincible and you close your eyes to everything around you, that would be the beginning of your end.
You have this play, but I've personally have felt that the Palestinian art scene hasn't been able to respond to al-Aqsa flood yet. I mean, we have seen foreign singers, create songs for Palestine since, but it seems like our whole community is in shock a little bit, including our artists. Do you feel this time is it time to actually produce art about al-Aqsa flood?
No, it's not time.
Not time.
Laith, this is we are going through a trauma, and we need to digest what we are seeing, watching, feeling, experimenting, and suffering. It took me 20 years to write Ala Iza Yakfin Ya Ali. You know, we need a break. We need to think, to rethink, and to digest what's happening, because what is happening now is really beyond imagination, really beyond any normality in the world to absorb. What's happening now is like beyond any book you have read, beyond any movie you have watched, beyond any painting you have painted, beyond any book you have written. And we have to digest. It will come. But I have to tell you something about the art scene of the Palestinians. I'm very proud of it. We are in the international scene of movies, of cinemas. We have great painters, visual artists, great, and they are also in the international scene. We have writers that we should be proud of, okay, that have been translated into so many languages, other than Ghassan Kanafani and Mahmoud Darwish and Edward Said. We have this young generation who's excelling, you know, and they have different tools. We have to be patient a little bit. We have to wait. And this will all be interpreted in art eventually.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting those two shocks of images, the images of the genocide, being, babies murdered and so on, and at the same time, daily videos of heroic resistance that has not been
People
seen
are
before.
saturated, Laith. People are saturated. The human mind can really endure, cannot endure all of this in one package. But you know how I think, you know what my attitude is? I don't see the rebels. I don't see the dismantling and the bombed houses and the misery. I'm writing something now about the future. ستعود المدينة إلى وردها.
The city will return to its roses.
To its roses. And Gaza is known for its roses. And I think the city will return to its roses. And this is going to be my next project.
Inshallah.
But from a very positive perspective. From a perspective that will let the other generation, I will pass the flame to them, the other generation to think positively about rebuilding our country.
You're still very young and you're going to be with us for a long time, inshallah.
I don't know.
Raeda.
I hope so.
So it's futurism, and that's something that has started in the last, maybe decade or so. I started seeing science fiction, futurism being written by Palestinians, and I hope for all our people, our future will be bright.
Futurism, but I object on the word science fiction. It's reality. Future with reality.
Yes, this is why I played both words.
Yeah.
I know some people
Future with reality.
Yes.
I don't mind science fiction. I love science fiction, but concerning our cause, it's going to be going to the path of reality. We're gonna return and build.
Inshallah, inshallah.
And live there.
Liberation is very close, very near. It's nearer
and it's
than
not
any
something
time.
emotional, by the way. It's not something emotional. Like Ilan Pape says, it's very academic and scientific that this project will end, and it's the beginning of the end of this project, and Palestine will return.
Raeda Taha,
Thank
you
you.
are a all-rounded person that represents everything that Palestinians have lived through and are offering to this world. Thank you very much for being with us
Thank
today.
you, Laith.
And inshallah, we will be seeing your new work very soon.
Inshallah, you will see my work in Jerusalem.
You are still watching Wartime Cafe on Free Palestine TV. We are in Barzakh bookstore and coffee shop. Support them. Come here if you're in Beirut. Support us by going to our website, freepalestine.video, where you can subscribe and donate and follow our socials. Till next time, I bid you all a free Palestine.